Hey guys, Blaze here, and welcome back to another tier list video. And today we actually have the villains. Today we'll be doing the villains. Sorry about the ads on the side. That's just what this website does. So I'm sorry I can't do anything about that. So yeah, I compiled the main villain. So there's gonna be some interesting ones in here. There's gonna be a couple from the comics, and like some that have been revised. You know, like Trixie, Starlight, like those guys, they've been kind of revised. And then there's gonna be like some minor villains in here, so it's gonna be interesting. I just picked up the villains that I know so I can put them in a tier list, because if it's a villain that I don't know, then how can I really judge it? You know what I'm saying? So sorry, I had to drink water. This is gonna be pretty much out of order. These are all the main ones that I've compiled. So also, by the way, some of them I pretty much forgot their names of, just because they have some very, very weird names. So, but I remember the characters themselves, so don't worry. I know the characters. Some of their names I forgot. So, hold on. So the first one we're gonna start with is this. What is your name? God, what is your name? I forgot his name. Yeah, I forgot his name. But I know this character. He pretty much shows up in the Daring Do episodes. It's that weird cat thingy guy with the tail hand. You guys could see him, hopefully. It's not too bad, but yeah, I remember this guy. He mainly shows up in Daring Do episodes. I think that's the only time he pretty much shows up. I kind of like that villain, mainly because his voice is really freaking cool, and plus he's gigantic. He's a humongous guy. So as a villain, he's pretty. All of these villains on here really don't do their job very well. Well, it's a kids show. You can't really show villains doing a bunch of bad stuff too. you know, killing and stuff. You can't really show that in a kids show. But this guy, honestly, he's probably a C. I'll give him a C. He's not that bad. He's pretty cool. I kind of like him. Okay, this goat thing. I remember this thing. I forgot what it's called, though. Oh, God. As a villain, really not a big deal as a villain. What episodes did you show? I think you showed up in maybe one. Or are you from the comics? Hey, guys, hold on. I haven't read the comics in a good second, so yeah. I don't think this is from the comic. I think he was in Friendship is Magic. He was probably in both, honestly. I like his design. He's kind of got a Grogar kind of look to him. Oh, he's a ram with pretty much one eye, so he's a Mike Wazowski ram, pretty much. Compared to the other villains, no, you're an E. Yeah, you're okay, I guess. Okay, the Bugbears. I know the Bugbears. I know they're not really a villain, but I put them in here because they once were a dangerous thing. They're still a dangerous creature in MLB. Bugbear. I really like the concept of the Bugbear. Who would have thought of making a bear half bee? It's literally like half bear, half bug, half wasp. It's really cool. Just for those characteristics, I'll give you a C. Just because you have those really cool characteristics, I would have never have thought of a character being a mixture of a freaking bear and a wasp. So, okay, the Changelings. Okay, so these guys have been revised. Revised? That's not the right word. They're not villains anymore. Let's just say that. I hate the new Changelings, by the way. I love the old ones because, one, they were a threat, and two, their designs look 10 times better. They got this black. They look like bugs. They just look cool compared to the new ones, which look awful in my opinion. So the Changelings are actually one of my favorite villains, like, as an army, because Changelings themselves are an army. Because they're bugs. You know how bugs work in groups and all that? That's how the Changelings work. Oh, this thing, the tiger, snake, and goat mixture. What the hell is that called again? Oh, shoot. Is it the Malworth? No, that doesn't sound right. I remember this thing from Friendship is Magic. It's literally half tiger, half goat, half snake, pretty much. It's a mixture of three. It's really cool. I really do like that. Just for that, I really love the whole character design. It's just so cool. The people at Hasbro or whoever thought of this character is fantastic. Because if you guys didn't know, by the way, this half tiger, half goat, half snake is actually a mythical creature. I think it's a real thing, like a real story. I forgot what it's called. I have them all written down right here, but I can't remember if... Is it a Sendak? That sounds a little... It might be a Sendak. But if you look up this creature and all that, it's actually a real thing in like mythology and all that. So it's not a real life creature. It doesn't exist, but it's a mythical creature, I guess. Mythology. Just look it up. You know what I'm saying. Oh, this thing. I remember this thing from the comics. It's kind of like a purple wolf thing. It's very odd. I love it though. I remember reading the comics. This thing is actually really cool. God, I don't remember a lot about it, but I'll put it at a C. I kind of like the whole thing. It's hard to explain. You have to go read the comics and all that. Oh, what the hell is this? The clucking, the chicken that if you stare, it's literally the MLP equivalent to Medusa. So if you stare at this thing, it's literally going to turn you into stone. What is that called? I'm going to be very upset because I know what these things are. Oh my god. These things are a pretty big threat, actually. So, just for their threat and all that, and plus they've never been really reformed. That's the word I've been looking for. Except for that one episode where, of course, Fluttershy... wait, is it Fluttershy? No, it's not Fluttershy. It's, oh, what's her name? So, one of the characters I remember kind of tamed one of these things. I'm trying to think, but... Yeah, as a threat, they're pretty big of a threat. Because once you're turned to stone, you pretty much can't get out of it. So, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna give him an A just because of the threat. I literally can't remember the name of this character. It's part chicken, part bat, part snake. It's weird. I want to call it a Kerkluckin, but that's not the name. The KFC. That made no sense. Oh, the Dazzling Sisters. Is that what they're called? The Dazzlings. Right? Is that what they're called? Whatever. I haven't watched much of Equestria Girls, but they're pretty much villains, and they're the main villains, I think, in Equestria Girls. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Dazzlings, that's what they're called, the Dazzlings. So, as villains, I don't know much about them, really, because I don't watch Equestria Girls. But from the time that I've seen them, they're pretty big dicks, but they're not threatening. They're just douches. So I'm gonna put them at a D. Just because they're not really like your stereotypical villain where they're out to kill the hero and all that. They're just there to be bullies. They're just dicks, you know? So, oh, the Diamond Dogs. I actually kind of like the Diamond Dogs. Even though they're kind of goofy, I kind of like their concept. They're pretty cool. As villains, they're not really that big of a threat either, just because all they really want is gems. All they want is... They're like pirates. Think of them as pirates. So, yeah, as villains, they're not that big of a threat, because all they want to do is steal your shit. So, yeah, as a villain, they're whatever. As characters, they're cool, though. I kind of like them. They're different personalities for each Diamond Dog. Oh, this character, I think, is called, hold on. Gladmane? Is that Gladmane? That might be Gladmane, I'm not sure. Gladmane, I think. This character's from the comics, I think. Yeah, this is a character from the comics. So, from what I remember reading about the comics of this character, it's pretty much just like an evil grandma. It's an older kind of pony. As a threat, she wasn't really that big of a threat. I'm gonna have to put her at a D just because she's just like the Diamond Dogs and the Dazzlings. They're just not that big of a threat, honestly. Oh, this character, Grubber. Oh, goodness gracious. I hate Grubber with a passion. If you guys don't know who Grubber is, he's from the MLP movie. He's part of the Storm King army. I hate Grubber. I'm just gonna put you in F because you're literally not even a good character. You're just there to be annoying. Because if you haven't watched the movie, go watch it. You'll know what I mean. But if you have watched the movie like me, well, then you know what I'm talking about. This character is just, he's so weird. He jokes around all the, he's not a threat. He just isn't. He's just there. I don't know. King Sombra, oh god, I'm just gonna give you A tier, just because King Sombra is literally, like, my favorite villain of MLP. I love King Sombra. This isn't my favorites list, so I'm not gonna put him S tier. If this was my favorites list, I think King Sombra and the Changeling would be freaking S tier right now, but as a villain, King Sombra is a pretty big threat. I mean, as of Season 9, he's not a threat at all, but, since his time of reign taking over things, he literally took over the Crystal Empire for, like, a little bit. For, like, not, maybe a couple minutes, but he has the potential to be a villain, which he is, so let me reword that. He has the potential, like, what he is built to do, he has the potential to do it. The rest of the villains haven't really done that, because King Sombra wants to take over the Crystal Empire. That's just how he works. And he did that for, I think, a little while. And also in that episode where they do the alternate realities, he took over in the alternate realities. I know I'm making no sense, but you have to go watch the episodes to know what I'm talking about. I think it's the Friendship Chronicles, some shit. What is that episode called? Oh my god. I'm literally too tired. Why did I make this video while I'm tired? I don't know any of these characters' names. Okay, so right here, I know you see Discord in the main 6, but this is the only picture I could find of the Discorded 6. If you guys don't remember the Discorded 6, this is back when Discord was still a villain. He turned the main 6 into these really mean, just lifeless characters, so they just were mean. Pretty much, they were discoordinated. That wasn't funny at all. So, I remember these guys fondly. As a villain, they're garbage. They're not even villains, so I'm gonna put them E tier. Just because they're not even villain, they're just there to be mean. Like, yeah, you could think about the elements of harmony pretty much fell at that point. Like, there's no elements of harmony anymore. But, like, as villains, they're just not good. They're just there to be mean. That's their whole point. They're kind of like the Mean Six. They're like a revised or the old Mean Six, pretty much. We'll get into those guys later. Oh, this guy, Garble. Oh god, I remember Garble. He really wasn't, he's like the Dazzlings. He's not really evil, he's just a bully. He's mean. Because if you guys didn't know, dragons in MLP were grown up to know that they're not soft, they're hardcore, they don't like ponies and rainbows and butterflies, you know, they don't like that crap. They're hardcore, they're badass, we don't take shit from pony, you know, kind of like that attitude. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about, because if you don't, well, I'm very sorry. So, Garble's just a bully, so I'm going to put him D tier with the Dazzlings just because he's not a threat at all. He's just a bully. Flim Flam Brothers. Okay, I love the Flim Flam Brothers. As villain, okay, they're not really villains. They're kind of like, they're just business ponies trying to take over another business, aka Applejack's, you know, the whole cider shit. They're trying to come in and take over Applejack's business. So yeah, they're mean and they're greedy bastards, but as villains, I think they're higher than D tier for sure, just because they're not just bullies. They're actually doing something that's pretty bad. Like, for businesses, what they're doing is a pretty big threat. Especially for Applejack, because that's what they were going after. So, especially in that one episode, I'm going to butcher the name of it, but the Super Squeezy Cider 6000 or something, that episode, that was their main episode, I think, because that's when they were trying to take over the whole thing and all that. Go watch it. I can't explain it, but moving on. Mean Six. I actually like the Mean Six. They're better than the Discorded Six, because the Mean Six actually... okay, before I tell you, the Discorded 6 was created by Discord. The Mean 6 were created by Chrysalis. Let me just point that out. So, the Mean 6 were actually a bigger threat because when they talked to the actual main six, like the actual main six didn't know that the friend they were talking to wasn't their actual friend. It was I guess you could say, imposter of their friend. So whenever these guys would be talking to the actual main six, they would tear their character down and make them feel bad. And then when the actual main six character, I'm just being, I guess, specific, I don't know. So let's just say Twilight meets the Mean Six Rainbow Dash. Okay. So Twilight talks to the Mean Six Rainbow Dash, and Mean Six Rainbow Dash is just being a dick to Twilight, okay? And then Twilight is like, wait, why is Rainbow Dash acting that way? So Twilight then meets up with the actual Rainbow Dash, and Twilight is just upset with Rainbow Dash for no reason, just because she thinks that Rainbow Dash is the Rainbow Dash she met before. You know what I'm trying to say? So the Mean Six are there to break trust with the main six. So they're actually a bigger threat. So I'm going to put them at B just because they're an actual threat and they can break the trust and all that between the actual main six. I know my explanation kind of made no sense, but I'm trying to explain it the best I can, but you guys have to go watch the episodes to know what I'm talking about. Okay, we're getting into the stupidly dumb kind of villains. Okay, so snails. We're going to get into snips later. Snails. I know you guys are probably saying, how are they villains? They're not villains at all. Well, they kind of were. They're kind of like sidekicks. They were... So think of Batman and Robin. Think of Trixie as Batman and Snips and Snails as Robin. They were Trixie's sidekicks, pretty much. They would do whatever they want. Great and powerful Trixie, I will do whatever you tell us to. And they would bow down to her and shit. It was so dumb. So they weren't really villains. They were just kind of a villain sidekick, you know? Kind of. They would work for Trixie. They would do Trixie's bidding or some crap. So as villains, garbage. So I'm gonna put Snails at F just because as a villain he's not good at it. Even if he was an actual villain like Sombra or something, oh god, just imagine Snails as Sombra. Horrible. So if Snails was an actual like main villain like Sombra or Chrysalis, I don't even think he could pull it off, honestly. He's too bleh. He's weird. Daybreaker. Okay, I know I hate Celestia with a passion, but Daybreaker is badass. I love Daybreaker. I'm putting her A just because when you think about... Because Celestia is in charge of all of Equestria. When you think of the person in charge of the whole... Like, what is Equestria? A country? I guess? I'm just going to call Equestria a country. So whenever the person that's in charge of your country has an evil side, yeah, that's probably something to freaking worry about. So that's why she's so high. Daybreaker specifically. Because what if Daybreaker actually took over? Just imagine what she would do, guys. And plus I just love the design of Daybreaker. She's really cool looking. So yeah, that's why she's so high. Cozy Glow. Oh god, I hate Cozy Glow, but as a villain, she's a wonderful villain, honestly. Because Cozy Glow is... Her specialty is manipulation. She's great at manipulating other ponies. She uses her filly, like, childlike appearance and her age to manipulate others. So she pretends to be this innocent, cute, filly, young pony that needs help and all that. And then when the other pony least expects it, she just destroys them. So she's a great manipulator. As a villain, she's gotta be A, just for that manipulation. Actually, no, I think no, she's not S tier. No, sorry, Cozy, you're not S tier at all. For a villain, she's wonderful because if you think about it, manipulation is a pretty dangerous weapon to use if you use it right, and that's what Cozy Glow uses perfectly. Oh, this thing. What is this thing? This is actually one of my favorite villains in the actual comics. This is from the comics. Hold on. Oh my god, what is the name of you? Are you the Malworth or Sendek? I don't freaking know. This is actually one of my favorite like villain and designs of a villain in the comics. If I remember correctly from the comics, I don't think... No, it was a pretty big threat. This thing was a pretty good threat, so... No, not D tier. I think I'm gonna put you C tier. Yeah, you deserve C tier. Because you're not a main villain, you're just kind of like a... I don't know. God, I need to go read the comic. I should have read the comics again before making this video. Because it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about. Which, somewhat I don't, but I remember a little bit about this character. It's one of my favorite designs. Lightning Dust. Okay, this is another kind of... Actually, no, she's kind of a manipulator. When she came to the when she created the washouts and all that and tried to recruit Scootaloo, she manipulated Scootaloo into getting into it. So she's kind of like Cozy Glow. But Lightning Dust is kind of one of those villains that is just out to get vengeance no matter what. Just because I didn't get in the Wonderbolts, I'm gonna make my own bootleg version of the Wonderbolts. And I don't know, try to take over them or something. I don't know what her whole idea behind the washouts were, except for doing dangerous things. That's the whole point of it. So Lightning Dust is a villain. I don't think she can do much damage, so I'm gonna put you at a D. Just because you can't really do much, you're just holding a grudge against the Wonderbolts just because you couldn't get in. And you screwed over your partner, Rainbow Dash, so... Yeah, you just think about yourself, that's really all. And that's pretty much the weakest point about a villain. Like, what makes a villain cool to me is if they're manipulative and they're good at what they're supposed to do, you know? The washouts. Okay, like I just said, the washouts are literally just there just to do dangerous tasks and to be a bootleg version of the Wonderbolts, pretty much. A horrible bootleg version of them, by the way, but if this was my favorites list, I would kind of put them at an A just because I love their design. The black and green just kind of gives you that kind of, what is it? Just like a sports team, like a badass sports team or something. It's just cool, I don't know. But other than that, as villains... Lightning Dust and these other two characters, I literally forgot what their names were, but as villains, they're not good at it. I'm just gonna put them at a D with Lightning Dust because, yeah, I don't know, they're whatever. They're not that big of a deal. Discord, the Lord of Chaos. Okay, he's gonna go S tier just because, not because he's reformed, guys, but think about it. Discord is the Lord of Chaos itself. If Discord really wanted to destroy everything, he could do it Thanos style. He could snap his fingers and boom, everything would be gone. Discord is literally you don't mess with Discord because he will fuck you up. The main six are lucky that the writers of MLP made him a good guy, because if he wasn't a good guy, he's a gigantic threat to the whole... to all of Equestria. Like, seriously, he's the Lord of Chaos, for God's sakes. He can do literally whatever he wants, but he doesn't because, well, he's reformed, so he uses his bad for good, if that makes sense. Okay, Nightmare Moon. She's actually my favorite female villain. Like I said, Sombra is my favorite villain, but male villain, let's just say that. Nightmare Moon's my favorite female villain. Jesus, I cannot talk today. So yeah, Nightmare Moon, all she really wants to do is make night eternal, and I guess in the long run that could be very bad, but in general it's not that big of a deal. So as a villain, she's not that big of a threat, honestly. So I think I'm just gonna put her with Daybreaker just because she is literally the ruler's sister, and when a high being like that has an evil side, you should start worrying. So yeah, Nightmare Moon has been contained though, so I think Luna can control her psychotic ways with her alternate ego pretty much. So alternate self. Sorry, not ego, because Luna doesn't really have an ego. But yeah, Nightmare Moon isn't that big of a deal. She just wants things to be eternally dark forever. So yeah, Nightmare Rarity. Oh my god, I forgot about Nightmare Rarity, honestly. Nightmare Rarity is cool, don't get me wrong. But as a villain, I'm not so sure about that. Nightmare Rarity's... Yeah, see. Sorry, Nightmare Rarity. I don't remember you doing that big of a thing to make you super scary. But yeah, I like Nightmare Rarity. She's pretty cool. But of course, this isn't my favorites list or my favorite character, so I can't put her all the way up here and stuff. This is just from what they... Are they good at being what they're supposed to be? A villain. Are they good at it? That's the whole thing. Ooh, the Hydra. Oh god, I love the Hydra. As a villain, they're pretty terrifying. They're pretty good at being a threat, honestly. When fucking Fluttershy isn't everywhere where these monsters at and can tame them, they can be a threat. But if Fluttershy's there, they're pretty much screwed. Because Fluttershy can tame literally every animal in MLP. It's ridiculous, so... But as a villain, I like the Hydra. It's pretty cool, because think of it, it's a freaking Hydra. Like, I don't know what's not scary about a Hydra. They're freaking terrifying. Okay, so, Silver Spoon. Yeah, this kind of goes back to the Dazzlings and Garble, and kind of Lightning Dust. She's just a bully. She's not a threat at all. She's just rude. So I'm going to put you D. But you're more annoying, Silver Spoon. You're a lot more annoying. With your favorite friend, Diamond Tiara, which we will get to, and you know where Diamond Tiara is going, so... It's just... As a villain, they're not good at it. They're just bullies, man. I don't know. Dr. Cabaleron. Oh, that's the first time I said his name correctly. Dr. Cabaleron. He's the main antagonist, or wait, I don't know. He's just the main guy going against Daring Do. So it's pretty much whenever a Daring Do episode is on, expect Dr. Cabaleron to show up at some point. I like his character design. It's pretty cool. It's very simple, but it makes him look badass. I like his voice too. It's kind of got... What accent is his voice? I don't even know. But Dr. Cabaleron is kind of manipulative. In that one episode where he manipulates Fluttershy into getting a special thing I fucking forgot what it's called, but yeah. As a villain, he's pretty good at it, but he's more of like, he's just there to steal stuff, so he's just stealing stuff and then reselling it, so it's kind of like every eBay user ever, you know? No, I take that back, not eBay, every Craigslist user ever. That's kind of what Dr. Cabaleron is. He just steals stuff, resells it, earns a shit ton of money off of it, so... As a villain, I'll put you at a C. Yeah, at a C, because you're not that big of a... You're just stealing stuff. What are you going to do? Are you going to use all of the power these ancient amulets hold and stuff? And use their power against them? I don't think so. Parasprites, Jesus fucking Christ. They're actually S tier, just because Parasprites are terrifying. Yeah, they may be cute on the surface, but once they start spreading, it is so hard to contain these things. Because if you guys didn't know, the word Parasprite pretty much means parasite. What does that entail for the Parasprite? Well, I guess it means they're a parasite. So dumb. But yeah, a Parasprite is literally the MLP equivalent of a parasite. Because once these things start splitting up and forming new ones of themselves and just what the hell is the word, man? I cannot think today. This is the worst video I made so far. But once they start multiplying, that's a word. There's really no way of stopping them. Another thing that's terrifying about these Parasprites is that they eat everything. They don't care what they eat. what? Oh my god, I can't think of the word, but don't let their small size deceive you. They will eat literally houses and buildings. They will eat everything. And that's a big problem. So what's worse than them multiplying to hundreds of thousands to, you know, because they can split up in like matter of seconds. So parasprites are a pretty big threat in MLP, even though they're pretty easy to kind of contain. But if they're not contained, they're gonna wreak havoc. Seriously. So they're a big freaking threat. Okay, this eagle thing. I remember this eagle thing. I forgot what it's called though, so I'm not even gonna try. I remember Chrysalis changing into this eagle. I'm just gonna call it an eagle. I know it has a name, but this bird is gigantic too. When I first saw it, I was like, how is it that big? It's a pretty big bird, so it's not your typical like bald eagle or something. This thing is like 10 times the size of a normal eagle. It's ridiculous. As a threat, they're threatening, don't get me wrong, with their size and all that. But from what they're shown to do, they're not a big threat at all, so I'm going to put them at an E. Just because they're not that big of a... I mean, they probably could be, but they didn't show it in the show, so I'm sorry, but you should have shown it sooner. So, sorry, but yeah. Grogar. I'm just going to put Grogar at S tier because in MLP, Grogar is literally... If you learn the story of MLP and all that, Grogar is the most powerful being in all of MLP. There's nothing that can beat Grogar. His power is beyond Discord's. Yeah, think about that. And it's just everybody combined, Grogar can just slap him away and boom, he wins. Like he's so powerful. The most we've seen of Grogar was actually when Discord was shown to be Grogar. Even though I don't think that's how Grogar's an actual being, but I think Discord was just being Grogar to trick the bad guys, you know? So there's a story behind that, but if Grogar actually really did show up in MLP, I think the series would have ended very, very soon because he would have killed everyone. So yeah, let me just take a drink of water real quick. Oh yeah. Okay, so oh god, the Shadow Bolts. Okay, the Shadow Bolts are very manipulative. I'm gonna put them here just because they're very manipulative. Because their whole thing, they're not an actual being. Think of the Shadow Bolts as phantoms or ghosts, you know? They were there to try to manipulate Rainbow Dash into joining them. You know, to give a bad look on her friends and the Wonderbolts, just to push those away and join us, you know? Join us and screw your friends. I think they even once said it's either us or your friends. And thankfully Rainbow Dash picked her friends, but they were just very, very manipulative towards Rainbow Dash. So I think the Wonderbolts are no, not the Wonderbolt. The Shadow Bolts are created by Nightmare Moon, if I'm correct. So yeah, Nightmare Moon is pretty much the leader of the Shadow Bolts. So oh, this guy. I forgot. I think this guy's name is Sven Gallop, right? Svan Gallop? Or no, is this guy Svan Gallop? One of these two dickheads are Svan Gallop or whatever. But yeah, this guy, he's like, think of real life rich people. Some rich people. They have their nose up. They think they're better than you. He's just a rich pony that thinks he's better than everybody else. He thinks every pony else is a peasant. Let's just say that. So as a villain, he's not a villain at all. He's just a dick. So I could be very wrong. He might have tried to take over businesses or something, or he tried to screw over Rarity or something like that, if I remember. That might have not been him, but I don't know. It's one of these two dickheads, but we'll get into that later. Or you guys can get into that by looking him up and reading the actual story. Oh, this thing. This isn't Tyrek, by the way. I know it looks like Tyrek, right? But it is actually... I think that's Sendak. Yeah, this is Sendak, or Sondak, however you say it. But he's kind of like I think he's from the comics. He's like Tyrek. He has this old, decrepit form, and then he can turn into this big, bulky boy, just like Tyrek. So they're part of the same family. I forgot what Tyrek is. He's like half Satan thing, half pony thing. I think these things are based off of mythology too. Most of these creatures in MLP are based off of real life mythology stories, so I'm guessing that's what he's based off of, is some sort of mythology that I don't know. But if I remember correctly, he's actually kind of, he's D tier. He's whatever. He's not that big of a threat at all. Compared to Tyrek, which Tyrek just doesn't give a shit. Well, this guy's pretty evil too, but he's not as bad as Tyrek, in my opinion. So, because remember, this whole video is my opinion. This isn't like I'm saying these are facts. I'm not saying that whatsoever. These are my opinions. Oh, this guy. I know it looks like he's from the comics, but he was in Friendship is Magic at one point, I think. I forgot his freaking name, though. Oh, I think it's King Diomedes? Diomedes, however you say his name. Diomedes. I don't know. But that name probably sounds very familiar to you guys. I think he was in Friendship is Magic at one point. I don't remember him being a big threat at all. But just because he gets a little points for being a little badass. So he's D tier. He's not E tier because I think he's a little more of a threat. If I remember correctly. I need to go read the comics again and all that, even though I don't think this guy's from the comics. Anyway. Oh, God, I remember you. Okay, his name is actually Pony of Shadows. Okay, I just remembered. Sorry, I had to cut that out because I was literally sitting here thinking for so long what his name was. The Pony of Shadows. If you guys didn't know, Pony of Shadows is actually not like a that's not his actual form. He's actually like an evil form of, what's the character? Go watch the episodes. I'm not going to explain this. We're just going to talk about the Pony of Shadows. So he's kind of an evil form of another pony that I don't know the name of. You guys are going to have to go look that up on your own. But for design purposes, he's the best looking villain in all of MLP. He's just so cool looking. He looks like a phantom. He's just badass looking. I don't know. I love the look of him. But since this isn't my favorites, we're gonna do it on how good of a villain he is. In my opinion, I think he's a pretty decent villain. I'm gonna put him at a B. God, he's so hard to see right there, but he's there. Yeah, I like the Pony of Shadows. If I remember correctly, he kind of was a big threat at one point for like maybe a little bit, but then he wasn't after that, so yeah, okay, we're moving on. Maniac. Okay, I know this freaking character at least. Maniac is pretty much the, the power ponies, like the villain of the power ponies. I like Maniac. It's really freaking cool. Maniac reminds me of that one villain from, is it Spider-Man? Was it that guy from Spider-Man, with the mechanical tentacles? Is it Spider-Man? Correct me if I'm wrong. I probably freaking am. But that's what Maniac kind of reminds me of. But with her mane and tail are literally just tentacles, so it's not 4 mechanical ones, it's literally organic tentacles, that is your hair and tail. So yeah, Maniac is really badass. As a threat, she's really of a made-up character. She's just the power ponies. That's more of like the MLP equivalent to Marvel Comics or something. So, as a threat to the Power Ponies, she's, I would put her pretty high. She could be a threat for sure. Ooh, the Ursa Minor. I freaking love the Ursa Minor, man. The Ursa Major isn't in here because I think we only saw Ursa Major in the, a couple seconds of the last episode of where the Ursa Minor showed up. So, the Ursa Major really never showed itself. It was just the Ursa Minor. So the Ursa Minor is the constellation bear, pretty much. It's the bear with the constellation, Ursa Minor. Who would have guessed? Design is fucking creative as hell. I love the design. I would have never thought of mixing a constellation and a bear and making such a cool looking character, but as a villain, I wouldn't even really call him a villain. It's just a very angry bear. So a very, very big angry bear, but as a villain, I love you, Ursa Minor, but you're not... I mean, you could... Okay, no, you're C tier. Because I need to think about it. Yeah, the Ursa Minor was pretty much tamed and all that and was calmed down. But think about it. If this bear was never calmed down, think about the damage it could do across all of Equestria, or just Ponyville, because that's where it showed up. But the Ursa Minor could do some serious fucking damage if it really wanted to, so... Yeah, that's it for the Ursa Minor in my opinion. So yeah, moving on. Oh, this freaking guy. Wind Rider. Yeah, this guy. Wasn't he... Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he like one of the most loved and best Wonderbolts or something? Because he's retired. Or was he lying about that? I can't remember if he was an actual Wonderbolt that just he turned to be a dickhole for some reason, or he lied about that just to, you know, get people to love him or something. I could be very wrong on both or just one of them, but I think he just turned out to be an evil guy, because he was all nice to the Wonderbolts and all that in that one episode. Forgot what it was again. But he's just, again, he's not a threat. He's just a dick. He's just mean. I think he's worse than even these guys. He's just, to me, he's a cool character, don't get me wrong. But as a threat, he's not up there at all. He's just a mean fucking pony. He just hates everyone. Okay, the Fruit Bats, or the Vampire Fruit Bats. If this was Applejack making this list, she would put the Vampire Bats all the way at S, just because she hates these things. For good reason, because these things freaking come around her orchard and eat all the freaking apples and all that, so... didn't one of them turn... Was Flutterbat made because one of these guys bit her or something? I forgot how Flutterbat was made, but... yeah. Flutterbats... Flutterbats? Vampire Fruit Bats, as a villain, they're not even villains, really. They're just eating apples. Like I said, if Applejack was making this list, she would put these guys all the way at S tier. But I'm gonna put them E just because they're not really there to hurt you. They're just there to take all your food. Yeah, that's mean and all, but that's how these guys live. That's just what they do. Snips. Okay, Snips. Like I said, you're going in F tier. Sorry, dude, but I can't. You're not a threat. You're just Trixie's right-hand man, pretty much. Yeah. That Snips and Snails, those characters are I love the characters. They're very interesting. Snails reminds me of a crackhead. Or not even a crackhead, but a stoned guy, you know, because just the way he talks, he just sounds stoned. And then Snips sounds like your stereotypical, like, nerd or something. I don't know. Oh, Timberwolves. I love these characters. Timberwolves are badass. As villains, though, in packs, they could be just like real-life wolves. If these guys came in packs, you're pretty much effed. You're done. But by themselves, they're pretty much easy to take care of. As morbid as this is, these guys are probably terrified of fire. So you can bring gasoline and fire, and if you get surrounded by these guys, just throw gasoline on them and light them up. Because they're made of timber, they're made of wood, so their weakness is probably fire, so... But other than that, if these guys roamed in packs, I think they would be a very big threat, so I'm gonna put them at a B just for that. And if you don't have fire or anything, I don't see how you're gonna win, because I don't think bullets and all that... I mean magic, of course, magic can destroy almost everything. But if you bring like a gun or something, they're made of wood. They don't have organs or anything, so you can't kill them by making them bleed. They're literally just wood, so good luck doing that. So yeah, if these guys roam in packs, you pretty much just kiss your ass goodbye because you're gone. Tempest Shadow. I love Tempest. Tempest is a cool character. When she was a villain for literally just like one movie. That's it. And then she turned to be good guy. Or Fizzle Pop Berry Twist. Sorry, that's her official name. I love that name. As a villain, she did wonderful. She's up there in A. I know you could say that the only reason why she did a very good job at what she did is because she was working under a freaking army. She was a commander of an army. But that's what makes her good. She was good at her job. Because if the army was bad, she was bad. She was bad at commanding her own army. So she did wonderful at commanding her army, though. So she can command something. If you can command an army correctly, that's a pretty scary thing. So yeah, Tempest is A, because if you could command an army, I would be scared of you too. This mole thing, I forgot what these things are called. Give me a second. Okay, I forgot the name. Whatever. Yeah, it's this big mole guy. It's pretty much a mole. Just look at him, you ugly. So he's huge though, guys. Go watch. If you haven't seen this character, you might think, oh, it's just a mole. It's a tiny animal. No, you would be very mistaken, because this thing is gigantic. So yeah, I swear I have it written there, but whatever. Yeah, I forgot. I remember this thing being he's very ugly looking. He's creepy as hell. As a threat, I could see him being a big threat, so maybe C tier. I could see that big hunky boy being a threat if he wasn't contained by, of course, Fluttershy. Fluttershy has to ruin all the villains, doesn't she? Anyways, Wendigos. Okay, Wendigos have been... In MLP, the Wendigos are seen as these higher beings, these terrifying things that come around and will destroy everything in its path, but for that reason, of course, I'm going to put it A, but I don't think they're as deadly as Parasprites and Grogar and Discord. They're not that big of a... Because these three can wreck some shit, man. I mean, Wendigos probably could. All of these characters probably could if they wanted to, but the ones up here, B and up can really do some damage. No, C and up can do some pretty bad damage if they wanted to, so... Yeah. Wendigos, okay. I could see it. Trixie, okay, Trixie was, again, her being a villain was just her being just an asshole. I'm gonna put... should I put her D? No, I'll put her D. Just because she's just like these characters over here. She really wasn't that big of a threat. She only cared about herself. She thought she was the most powerful pony and blah blah blah, the great and powerful Trixie, as she always frickin' says. And as a threat, she's not threatening at all. She's just a bully, of course. I mean, now she really isn't, but when she was still a villain, yeah, she was just mean. So yeah, she just cared about herself. She was selfish, there's the word. Tyrek, my boy. Tyrek is something to be freaking threatened by. So Tyrek is terrifying. Because Tyrek, if he's in his crip, like, old man form, he can't do anything. But once he starts sucking up all the magic, you better kiss your ass goodbye, because Tyrek is terrifying once he collects all of the magic and all that. We haven't even seen what Tyrek could be if he collected every single amount of magic in MLP. Just imagine if he did that. But as of Season 9, sadly, he was contained and turned to stone. So, yeah, there's no really big threat about him until Generation 5 if they bring him back in a more scarier way. But other than that, Tyrek could do some shit, honestly. He's terrifying. I'm assuming that you guys have seen the show, so you guys know what Tyrek can frickin' do. Okay, the dragons themselves, we should have done this one earlier. The dragons themselves, they're not that big, they're not really threatening, they're just bullies. They were taught not to be soft. They were taught to, like, not like pink things, like girly things, you know? they're supposed to be hardcore, just like Garble and all that. So, but I'm gonna put him. I'll put him E tier. Yeah. Garble I put a little higher just because he had a lot more personality than the other dragons. So, and then the dumbest name for a trio I have ever heard goes to the Legion of Doom, also known as the Tyrek, Chrysalis, and the Cozy Glow trio team. It was supposed to be with Sombra, but then Sombra effed off, so yeah. Yeah, it's just these three. This was the final form of all the enemies in MLP. Coming to Season 9, this is all we got, is these three guys. So, as a trio, they're pretty freaking terrifying once they're all together. But, again, since their egos get in between each other, that could be their downfall, which it kind of was, but... actually, no, it wasn't, because they learned to work with each other. What I mean by egos is because these villains think, oh, I'm the best villain, you're not. No, I'm the best villain, you're the worst. No, I'm the best, kind of like that. They were fighting on who the best villain, who's the better one is, and shit like that. But then they came to talk and think, okay, let's work together and defeat Twilight, which they failed at. But as a trio, these three are they're scary, man. They're very scary. So, yeah, they deserve A tier. This guy, he wasn't that big of a threat at all. Literally at all. If I remember him correctly, he was just mean. Most of these characters in here aren't even that big of villains, just because they're mean to other ponies. But other than that, yeah, there's not really much to say about you, dude. I don't remember much about you, so yeah, just gonna leave you there. Storm King. I mean, when Storm King was in power, I think he deserves S tier. Mainly because when he was still alive and in power, the dude literally had an army. Think about that. And plus, the Storm King literally, for a little bit, don't get me wrong, it's only a little bit, pretty much defeated Celestia, Luna, Cadence. He pretty much took over Equestria for just a little while. So he has the opportunity to be a very terrifying villain. But then, yeah, he pretty much screwed around too much and acted like a fool, and then he pretty much died. He turned to stone and fell off the balcony and freaking died. So, yeah, if you can have an army that's as terrifying as the Storm Army, then yeah, you're pretty terrifying. He's pretty much Emperor Palpatine with the stormtroopers and shit, so yeah, we're just gonna leave him there at a S tier. I think he deserves S tier just because of all the possibilities he could do. Okay, and then the Storm Creatures. This goes... Without Storm King, I don't think these guys could be that big of a deal, but since they have Storm King, I'm gonna put them at a B. Mainly, I'm gonna put them with the Timberwolves, because if these Storm Creatures work as a team and in groups, they could be something that shouldn't be messed with. So they're kind of like Timberwolves, but more scary in a way, because they're bigger and bulkier. They're just more terrifying. So yeah, the Storm Creatures, or the soldiers of the Storm King, they could be pretty good, but without the Storm King, of course, these guys really can't do much, in my opinion. But oh god, this thing, the Tatsel Worm, I think that's how you say it. This thing is the most disturbing villain of all of MLP. It's so creepy. What's so creepy about a worm? Maybe because this worm is like as tall as the Empire State Building. This worm is huge in the show. And plus its face opens up like a xenomorph, or no, better yet, the face actually opens up like Stranger Things Demogorgon. That's exactly how the face opens up on this thing. That's terrifying in my opinion. If you guys haven't seen Stranger Things, you don't know what I'm talking about, but for the people that have and know what a Demogorgon's face does, then you know what I'm talking about. So, the Tatsel Worm is like a gigantic Demogorgon snake. Just think about that for a second. So, if if I remember correctly, it didn't do much. Of course, all these villains never really got the full opportunity. But let's just think of a possibility. If this thing got loose, maybe with a bunch of other tassel worms, these things would be terrifying to deal with. Yeah, and then the elements of harmony would probably destroy them, but let's pretend that doesn't exist right now. These tassel worms can do a lot of damage just because of how big they are and how aggressive they are. So yeah, I'm going to put it at a B for sure. Diamond Tiara. I'm sorry, Diamond Tiara. Actually, I'm going to put you at an E, Diamond Tiara, because you're more annoying than the rest of these guys at D. As a villain, you fail at that. Like, it doesn't even look like you're trying to be a villain, or you're just bad at it, Diamond Tiara. You're just annoying, you're mean, you're selfish. I mean, that's what her name entails. Diamond Tiara is like a saying for rich, snobby people, so her name even fits her, so yeah, we're gonna leave it at that. I'll be taking a drink of water. Sorry about that. Sludge? Is that his name? Yeah, Sludge. Okay, Sludge, just go to F tier. You're horrible. I hate you with a passion, dude. You're not even a villain. You're just a manipulative guy that thought you were Spike's dad. I don't know why you would think that. Oh, wait. He thought that because he wanted to go into the castle because you know how dragons like to use other creatures to their advantage. That's what Sludge did. And he pretended to be Spike's dad. As much as I hate Spike, I did feel bad for him in that one episode just because he thought this was his dad, and oh boy, it wasn't. It was just a dickhead trying to use him. So, yeah, Sludge, as a villain, couldn't even be a villain. He couldn't even dream about being a villain. He's just a dick, so. Sunset Shimmer. I mean, as a villain, I'm sorry, Sunset, you're not a good villain. Just from your slight show up in Friendship is Magic when you stole the crown and pretty much started Equestria Girls by jumping into that portal. Thank you, Sunset, and we'll never forgive you for that. Yeah, as a villain, no, you're not that good. I've even seen the Equestria Girls, like most of the episodes where Sunset is the bad guy, she really doesn't do shit. So as a villain, I'm sorry, Sunset, you're E tier. You don't scare me. You're not scary at all. Okay, and if you're wondering what this sign is, it's Storm King's army. Just the ships, the creatures, him, Tempest, it's just everything mixed into one as an army, you know? What the fuck is an army? Well, you know what an army is, so. Yeah, as the army, the Storm army as a whole, for their name being badass, the Storm Army, I mean, yeah, they can wreak havoc, which they did in the movie for a little while, but then they got defeated. So as an army, they're some to be fucked with, I think. Like, without the magic and all that, without the elements of harmony and all that, of course this army would be very, very, very scary. And also, like I said earlier, Storm King pretty much stopped Celestia, Luna, Cadence, and took over Equestria for a little while, so this army can do something that not a lot of these, not a lot of these other characters can do, so I like the Storm Army. It's pretty cool. Starlight Glimmer, oh boy. Okay, hold on. Starlight Glimmer, back when you were a villain that enslaved villages. Okay, so apart from you being a communist and you just being a horrible pony in general, enslaving villages, I don't know why you did that. I still don't understand, but since you did that and you went through with it and completed it, what's the fucking word, man? My god. You know what, you guys can make fun of me for all you want that I cannot speak correctly. I know that, so she was successful at doing what she did. That's what makes her scary, is because Starlight is very She's a manipulator too, because I remember she tried to manipulate Twilight that, oh, I'll stop what I'm doing. But for what she did, and she completed it successfully, she's a force to be reckoned with, I think. And that's my opinion. Starlight has a lot of potential, so I'm going to put her B. Before she got reformed and all that, so if she wasn't reformed and she had a lot more screen time of her being a villain, I probably would have put her higher, but yeah, the Sphinx. Bro, I love the Sphinx. The Sphinx is one of my favorite characters in all of MLP. I don't know why. It's just a cool character. As a villain, because if you didn't know, the Sphinx is kind of based off of the, you know, the temples and shit in real life. This, what is it, Roman times? I need to go back to history, man. But you know those big Sphinx statues that were made? That's pretty much what this character is based off of. So, as a villain, plus this Sphinx is gigantic, just like the statues in real life. The Sphinx can probably do damage. I think there's only one Sphinx, though. We've never seen more than one Sphinx, so I'm assuming there's just one. So since there's only one versus a bunch of others that will try to defeat it if it tries to do anything, I will put it at a D. I love the Sphinx to death. If this was my favorite villains tier list, Sphinx would be S tier for sure. A lot more of these guys would be S tier than they are right here, but their capabilities is what I'm judging them on, and if they're good at being a villain or not. Ooh, the Dragon Lord Torque? Dragon Lord Torque, is that how you say his name? No, fuck you. That is how you say his name. I'm just gonna say that. So, the Dragon Lord Torque. He was the Lord of the Dragons, like his name entails. Again, actually no, I think he's more of a threat than the dragons themselves are. Like, if he really wanted to start a war against the ponies and dragons, he would probably do a very good job at that. So the threat level is pretty high with him. But then I think, didn't he retire and then we never saw him again or something like that? So yeah, when he was still in power of taking control of the dragons and all that, he was a pretty big threat. Queen Chrysalis. She's actually going to be the last S tier. She's the lowest of the S tier of all of these guys, actually, I think. But the reason why she's so terrifying is because, one, she's a changeling. Dude, changelings can literally, like their name entails, turn into whatever the hell they want. Especially the queen, which she can. And plus, she's a lot more smarter than her army of changelings. Her drones, right? That's what you call them, I guess. So that's why she's higher than the normal changelings. They're both equally as freaking terrifying because they can turn into your friend, like your best friend or whatever you love or something, and manipulate you and stuff like that. They can do a lot of damage just because they can turn into whatever they want. But that's one reason why Chrysalis is so high. But another reason why is because she leads a freaking army. Or should I rephrase that? She used to lead an army before, what the hell is his name? That changeling. What is his name? I forgot, but whatever. He changed these guys into the changelings we know now. I was gonna say the changelings we all know and love, but I do not love the new changelings, so I'm not gonna say that. Plus, Chrysalis is a pretty smart character in the show. She's not stupid at all. So she can change to whatever she wants. She led a freaking army, and she's extremely intelligent. So Queen Chrysalis is very scary, honestly, in my opinion. So yeah, guys, I think that's gonna be it for this tier list video. I know this probably wasn't my best tier list just because I didn't know a lot of these characters' names and all that, but most of these are from the comics, and I haven't even read the comics in years. And then there's some characters in here that have very, very hard to say names. So I'm sorry that I didn't know a lot of them, but I know the characters, so don't think I'm just speaking out of my ass and I don't know these characters. I know what they can do, but I just don't know their name. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here, guys. So yeah, that's my personal tier list on these villains. If you guys want to tell me what your favorite and least favorite villain is down in the comments down below, then sure, let me know. I'll be sure to read it and see what you guys say. So yeah, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, and go check out my other tier list if you guys want to. So yeah, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.